Counterpunch boxing. Let's get right to it. Okay, I took a few days off, and yeah, man, there's a lot to cover here. So I'm gonna try to make it kind of quick and put out a lot of videos today. All right, Oscar De La Hoya recently put out a comment, interview, whatever, stating that if Gennady Golovkin takes the Billy Joe Saunders fight in June, that could, severely jeopardize negotiations. Well, it doesn't make sense. You got Canelo Chavez in May and Gennady Golovkin potentially fighting Saunders or an unnamed opponent in June. Now, it's obvious. I shouldn't have to really break it down, but if you can get hurt in June, you can get hurt in May. If you can break a thumb in May, you can break a thumb in June, right? If you can get cut in May, you can get cut in June. Meaning, why is Canelo allowed to fight but not Gennady Golovkin? I mean, we're talking about a matter of, maybe 30 days or less, okay? Doesn't make any sense, all right? It just seems like another failed excuse from Golden Boy Promotion. I don't understand it. And then Oscar went on to say, well, I'm a little bit concerned about the Jacobs and Gennady Golovkin pay-per-views. We know it did about 145 to 170,000 pay-per-view buys. Now, that's not too bad when you consider there's only about 5 guys in all of boxing right now that can even bring any kind of a pay-per-view sales. Okay, I mean, we all know pay-per-view is dying, and these promoters cannot come to terms. They can't accept the fact that they can't put some shit performance together like a Canelo Liam Smith, and crank out $20 million. I mean, the thought of that going away is just is giving these guys like a heart attack. I mean, so they need to realize pay-per-view is dead. All right. And I mean, I would say in the next 3 to 5 years, we won't even have pay-per-view. It'll be something new will come out. I mean, it's a dying thing. It's a dinosaur, okay? But and I started thinking about it, and I heard other channels report, Golovkin's got these terrible numbers. Well, look, it's his second pay-per-view, and like I said, it is a dying thing. Now, I know the argument is, well, Canelo, take Canelo Liam Smith. Okay, he brought in they did about 300,000. I mean, that's the average for Canelo. Okay, and I understand the argument, but you go back and if you look at Canelo's second pay-per-view, it wasn't 300,000, it was around 200,000, right where Gennady Golovkin is. And then they compare him to Manny Pacquiao. Well, that's ridiculous. Manny Pacquiao has been on pay-per-view 23 times, generating $1.2 billion, okay? Pacquiao Vargas did 300,000 buys. Well, of course it did. You're talking about, in my opinion, the number one pay-per-view star right now over Canelo. People like to make that argument that Canelo, gets more pay-per-view buys than Pacquiao. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but they're neck and neck. I mean, they both do right around 300,000, and I even looked up Pacquiao's second pay-per-view fight was Eric Morales, January 21st, 2006. He did 360,000 pay-per-view buys, which is incredible. But back then, pay-per-view was booming, okay? March 19th, 2005, the original Manny Pacquiao-Morales fight, again, 350,000, generating 15.7 million. The second fight, 16.2 million. My point is, if you look at a graph, okay, and you can pull these up online, pay-per-view is dying. Okay, it is simply dying. And my point what I'm trying to point out here is Manny Pacquiao's first pay-per-view is the same numbers as his last pay-per-view, meaning it's going downhill, okay? Mayweather Berto 400 to 550,000, but again, you have a handful of pay-per-view stars. There's no one else out there that Canelo can fight that'll break 300,000. No one. I mean, Nate, tell me who it is. Maybe the Chavez fight, actually, I'll give it to them. That's like brilliant marketing, but outside of Chavez, who else can Canelo fight that'll break 300,000? And I hate to just go on and on and on about pay-per-views, but that's what these guys make it about. That's all they want to talk about, And you have to look at the matchup. When you take Canelo Golovkin together, they're going to generate at least I say 500,000 buys, at least, okay? and I think it'll probably go above that. But it's a simple way to break it down. It's a simple equation, a simple formula. Okay, Canelo does about 300. Gennady Golovkin is around 200,000. I mean, just chop it up like that. It's plain and simple. Right now, the deal is allegedly $15 million plus a percentage. I heard the percentage was like 80-20, 90-10, meaning Golovkin gets 10%, Canelo's getting 90%, or Golden Boy Promotion. That is absolutely ridiculous that they would even make that offer. That is a laughable offer. That's a clear duck, poison pill, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't make any kind of damn sense, okay? And again, when you add all that with the hypocrisy that Golovkin might get hurt with a Billy Joe Saunders, well, it's ridiculous, because Canelo might get hurt against Chavez, or he might go 12 rounds like Golovkin Jacobs. He might go 12 rounds, and people might say his stock might go down. Oh, he's exposed, whatever. It's boxing. Look, this isn't Mike Tyson's Punch Out, okay? This isn't a video game. If you go 12 rounds, it's called boxing, not getting exposed. If someone lands a punch on you in a round, it's called landing a punch, not winning a round or getting exposed. I mean, it is ridiculous, and this shit needs to stop, okay? Now, Abel Sanchez put out a statement. He said that, after they unify the division, that they're probably going to move up to 168, maybe fight a Ramirez, okay, and possibly even an Andre Ward. Now, we know Andre Ward moved up to light heavyweight to be great, right? Andre Ward moves up, it's called being great. When Gennady Golovkin moves up, it's called ducking. Again, the double standard. I just like to point them out. There's a lot of hypocrisy going on. I like to point it out. He moves up, oh, I'm great. Golovkin moves up, he must be ducking somebody. It doesn't make any sense. Now, Gennady Golovkin is one belt away from becoming the undisputed middleweight champion. So Abel Sanchez said, we're going to go after the Billy Joe Saunders fight, capture the WBO, become the undisputed middleweight champions. Hasn't been done since Bernard Hopkins, Carlos Monzon before that, and then we'll move up. Now, these other boxing channels, they like to say, oh, well, that's, I can't believe Golovkin's going to become the undisputed champion and then move. Well, what the fuck do you expect them to do? What do you want him to do? Become undisputed? Now, maybe he could have a couple of title defenses, but look, the middleweight division, it's not like it was back when Bernard Hopkins was fighting, okay? It's not like that anymore. Or the Fabulous Four. You look at, Marvin Hagler, Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard. It's not like that anymore. Boxing is a different world now. So once he becomes an undisputed champion, I don't blame them for moving up. Like, again, I thought it was being called great. Like, I don't understand it. These guys need to make up their mind what's great and what's ducking. It doesn't make any sense to me. So Abel Sanchez, he said, yeah, you know what? We'll get the WBO, and we'll give the redhead, and they refer to Canelo as the redhead. We'll give Canelo one more shot. We'll try to negotiate, whatever. If it doesn't happen, fuck it, we're moving up. And I don't blame him. You can't sit on the bench, you can't sit on the sideline and wait for Canelo. Look what happened in 2015, look what happened in 2016. I mean, eventually you've got to make a decision and move up. Gennady Golovkin is not getting any younger, okay? So it's not a duck. I don't blame him for doing what he's doing, and really at this point, I don't even care about the Canelo fight. He's not a middleweight. He vacated the belt. To me, Gennady Golovkin has already beat Canelo. I mean, it's just a matter of actually getting in there and doing it, okay? Because right now, I mean, that's what happens when you vacate the belt like a little bitch, and they hand deliver it to Golovkin's house. You've already beat him, okay? You don't need to get in the ring and prove it. So that's how I look at that. It's just a bunch of bullshit, and I'm getting really tired of it. So, and look, and I think, Gennady Golovkin, he's too old. He's getting too old to take a little payday to get a big payday, meaning, people say, oh, well, he should just take what he gets and beat him and move on. Or how about, fighting a Charlo? That's another argument I like to put out there. You say, oh, well, if he beats Billy Joe Saunders and becomes an undisputed champion, he needs to fight a Charlo. Well, there's always going to be a what about and a what about and a what about. Let's say he beats Charlo. Although when I interviewed Charlo personally told me he needed at least one or two more fights before he felt comfortable fighting Gennady Golovkin. So, spread that to the other channels. I mean, he personally told me that he was not ready for Gennady Golovkin. He said he wanted like at least one more fight at middleweight, and then he would be ready for Gennady Golovkin. So what should Golovkin do? Just sit there and wait? Oh, I'm undisputed champion, but I'm going to wait on this what about guy? There's always going to be a what about guy. No, I say do what Andre Ward did. Dare to be great. Move up to 168. Capture a belt. Maybe you cross paths with Andre Ward, maybe you don't. Who cares? I mean, here's the thing. We have to stop we have to stop putting this just unnecessary pressure on Gennady Golovkin. He's already proven how great he is. It's just there's always going to be another guy, and at some point it's got to stop. So, that's what I'm doing now. I no longer care about the Canelo Alvarez fight. Like I said, he's already beat him in my mind. So this is how I look at it. I mean, that's really the latest on that. I mean, the main thing is the comment by Oscar De La Hoya, and him contradicting himself, with we can fight in May, but you can't fight in June. Okay, then Abel Sanchez said, well, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna become undisputed, and then we're moving up. Now, in between, if you want to step up to the plate, fine. If you don't, fine.